Servo is a big technology. I am very sure that all of you are must be already somewhat familiar with servo, are already using or seeing the servos. The gap what I have been seeing in servo technology in our country is the products come most of the time from abroad, and the application engineering training is being given by the manufacturing companies or the dealers in India. They give the application training, but servo technology itself, how it is relevant to the motion control, what are its special features, how it is, let us say, how you compare this technology with any other kind of motion control technology, that kind of things are not given to our country by any of the foreigners. So most of the time, the way I have been seeing here, because I'm in this field for almost more than 4 decades now, we use the technology only to, let us say, 50% of its real capacity. Many of the features are just not known to the application engineer or the machine designer. It doesn't know many times the features itself. But like that, it goes on. So this is a gap I'm trying to fill up. This is what Mr. Prasad Pense mentioned, that I have been conducting many training programs, and particularly servo has become almost like my passion, motion control and servo. I conducted many programs. Servo technology, as is easily understood, it is for the some intelligent motion control. So we have to essentially start with what are the, first of all, the requirements in a motion control. When you say intelligent motion, there will be always something like this is what I want, this is what I want, that is what the user will be thinking. So we should be clear as well, first of all, what are the requirements. So I have made some kind of a list, but obviously this list not like a full list. We can keep on adding the requirements as and when you see this. So this is a small overview. When we say motion control, what are things, today's intelligent motion control, what are things covered? So hope you can see the mouse movement. Programmability, the motion must be programmable by the machine user. Positioning accuracy, which is like a default understanding along with the servo technology or motion control technology. Precision, speed, control, and range. What is the smallest speed? What is the biggest, highest speed you can get? And what is the accuracy of the speed control? Similarly, control over force and torque. Now, this is, I'll be explaining much more in depth, this control of force and torque. So right now, if you are not able to visualize this, just don't bother. We'll do it at the proper time. Then synchronized motion for multiple axes. This you can understand easily. Short duration overload handling. I think some participant asked what is the meaning of 100% duty cycle, 60% duty cycle. So this I'll be covering. Then no under controlled motion. For any kind of motion, it has to be specifically controlled motion either from the operator side. Yes. Any question? Okay. Then any motion system can have multiple sort of options. So how do you compare? So one of the things is running cost. See, initially some cost will be there, that is installation cost or the one-time cost, but the user of the machine has to pay for the running of that system. So how to look at the system? Initial cost obvious. Then any effect of the external things like environmental conditions. Efficiency, what kind of efficiency you can get from a given type of motion system. Then this is for the actual, say, control of the machine, inching, frequent start stop. Servo lock. Now servo lock, I'll be explaining much more in depth. So right now you can ignore this. Programmable acceleration, deceleration, butting on a stopper. This also requires little more explanation. And force and torque capacity. This is like a specification. When you say a motion, this is like a default understanding that any motion control system must have a rating. That rating is how much force or how much torque at what speed, maximum to minimum, it can transmit is contained in this capacity of the system. That is this is like a I can say overview. When we go for a motion control system, all these things the designers mind should think of all these things, and possibly something more also which might not be appearing here. All these things a designer, if he looks into this, then very good chance that his solution what he selects, it can be not necessarily always servo motor, it can be any kind of drive, but he gives the best solution from various angles, and it is relevant to the application what is handling. Now we'll go to the servo motor. Now you can see the difference here. This has got two speed ratings. One is the rated speed as the highest possible speed, N maximum. T, now there are two regions of torque. One is the continuous duty, whatever is showing as a light blue marking here is a continuous duty region, 100% duty cycle, or 24/7 you can keep the motor running. Within this, below this graph, as the speed increases beyond N rotated, the torque will come down. But the same motor will have one more torque rating called as short duration torque rating, higher torque rating, which could be 2 times, 2.5 times, or 3 times of the equivalent torque for the given speed. So this is especially of the servo motor. This gives a lot of advantages to you when it comes to the servo sizing selection. By proper servo sizing selection, or sometimes you might not look into all these things and you might select a servo without looking into the implications of the torque side. And suddenly your acceleration torque is higher because you are not looked into this, you are not seen this. But still the motor will work because of this region will take care. Because if the acceleration time can be very small, suppose it is hardly say 100 millisecond, then that is sufficiently small for the motor to work in this region also without any trouble. So that is a big benefit to get. And additionally, if you are intentionally going to use this in the high torque region also, that is also possible. That I will be explaining when it comes to the servo sizing selection. Servo basics. This is for the basic conceptual level understanding of what is a servo technology. So now you can read the screen. Concept of the closed loop control, servo motor concept and parts, feedback elements, command signal concept. So we'll see one by one each. Now this is the like a functional schematic diagram of a servo system. The servo is also called as closed loop system. So at the fundamental level, it works like this. That there is some command signal coming from outside. Now whatever dotted line rectangle I shown here, inside this is a servo controlled. Sorry, a servo controller is inside this, and outside is an actuator which actually gets controlled. It can be motor or it can be any other unit which doesn't have intelligence, but which obeys the signal properly. So what it works inside is like this, that there is a command signal and there is a feedback signal being connected here. To give a easy understanding, I'll take an example. Let us say I'm trying to control the speed of a particular motor. My command signal is 1000 RPM. I do some electronics and software inside, and then outside I give a motor whatever the is required, whatever voltage, frequency. So the motor starts rotating, and the motor actual speed I'm monitoring through some kind of let us say tachometer device. Now that signal is again coming back to this electronics. Now there is a piece of electronics here at the beginning level that is called as the error electronics or error signal generator. This error signal generator monitors continuously all the time. One is the command signal value and one is the instant, at that instant what is the actual value. To give an example, suppose the value command signal is 1000 RPM, and at that instant, suppose this is 995, assume 995, then now it understands and it computes that my command signal is 1000 RPM, but the actual speed is 995. Then it generates an error of 5 RPM. The error is processed, and then it is added or subtracted. The result of this added or subtracted with respect to the original signal, and a new output signal is generated such that the motor speed will try to increase. So the what was 995 may go with this operation as let us say 997. It will keep on happening, but there is also possibility that it may overshoot. Suppose the speed instead of in this correction process, suppose the speed goes to say 1010, then the error signal now become negative. That the command speed is 1000 RPM, but actual speed is 1010. So 10 RPM is a negative signal. So the motor speed will try to reduce this. So now this is a continuous action without your interception or without any control from outside. This keeps on happening on its own. This process is called a servo control. The reading the difference between the command value and the physical actual value on the machine and trying to correct the process itself. This is called as servo action or the closed loop action. Now this topic is for sort of highlighting what special you get out of servo technology on the application side? Because servo technology is a little higher level, it is costly also. So if you want to go for servo, then you will be having something in the mind. I want this feature, like that. Many of your expectation. This slide will try to tell you many things about what things you get out of servo, which are normally not there with any other drives. See, the thing is, as I mentioned earlier in my first opening slide only, that it is a programmable. Programmability of the motion is highly important. Now, here, the command signal is some example I'm giving. 37.75 degree at 243 RPM is the command signal. That means this is a rotation as well as the RPM. Both I'm giving as a part of the signal. The servo motor rotation will be exactly as per the information contained in the command input. So there is a one-to-one linear relation between command input, command signal, and the output motion. In case of anything unhealthy thing, suppose it is output is not matching with the thing, input signal, the servo will not keep on rotating wrongly. It will just immediately trip. It will give an error signal. Now that can be due to hardware error or your wrong selection or wrong command you are given. Any of the things could be a cause for this. But suppose anything like that happens, the servo will not keep on giving wrong motion. It will stop. Now when I say servo motor rotation exactly as per information contained in the command input, there will be always some built-in tolerance limit which is not accessible to you, which is not visible to you, but it is a part of the entire technology itself, that some built-in tolerance is there for it to trip. Otherwise, it will keep on giving nuisance tripping again and again. So to avoid that, there is a tolerance band, but which is not accessible to the user. This is called as power regeneration unit. This is an optional feature. You will have to specially ask and you have to buy this separately. It's not a part and parcel of the servo system. The thing is, sometimes what happens is when the servo motor is running, most of the time, say 99% of the applications and time, the servo motor will be driving the load. But once in a while it may happen that the load will drive the servo motor because of momentum, kinetic energy, or whatever some other reason. If that happens, then the energy on the machine is now being transmitted back to the servo motor shaft mechanically. So there is a technology where this will get converted as electrical energy. Now instead of motor working as a motor, it works as a generator. It generates electrical energy, goes back to the servo amplifier. The electrical energy is passed on through 24 volts converted voltage here, and that is going to a power generation unit, which will again feed it, convert it from 24 volt DC to the supply voltage. That is a special electronics technology, again with IGBT, so that whatever the three-phase supply is coming from the like a reference, this energy will be synchronized there. Meaning the mechanical energy onto the machine, which would have otherwise gone lost, because otherwise the machine will keep on rotating even if you don't want. This can instantly stop it by, or rather continuously, the mechanical energy can fed to the electrical power supply with this route. This is called as regenerative power unit. This is an optional feature. Now, a typical application I will show in a few minutes where this is used as a special, without which that testing will not work at all.